Greetings. In my journeys across the stars, I met many people, saw many things, and have stories spanning thousands of years within the Evenstar Alliance. The Alliance, which makes up the majority of my tales, spans the entirety of what the Earth calls IC 1101, the largest galaxy in the universe, plus many others in close proximity to it. It is a civilization far beyond anything those on Earth could even imagine being possible, as it's existed for the better part of the last billion years. For a perspective, your history here on Earth begins a little over 10,000 years ago, with your species having existed for a mere 2 million. The Evenstar Alliance is 500 times older than your species, born of a single world that expanded outward in a quest to bring prosperity to all, through any means necessary. This tale takes place on Slitha Raltek, an Alliance world lying on the outskirts of the outer colonies. Here, the modern technologies of the core worlds are in short supply. Here, technologies considered old to the majority of the Alliance have only recently taken root, which, as one could expect, means that they haven't exactly worked out all the bugs. On this world came the Omnipresence device, an implant that gave the user all the thoughts, feelings, and visions of all other beings on the planet, sorted out by importance. It truly gave everyone on the planet the feeling of being omnipresent, being anywhere at any time, linking up with another's mind instantly. If someone felt the strong emotions associated with need or desire, it was met by another. Say one desired bread, another would bring a loaf to them. For a time, it was true utopia, as every battle ceased, every act of cruelty, of jealousy, of revenge abruptly ended. From the core worlds, it appeared as if the planet had finally joined the rest of them, enjoying peace and prosperity. However, it wasn't to last, nor would the people themselves last. With any new technology comes those that wish to hack it, altering its functions for the fun of it. Fortunately, it wasn't an Alliance citizen that sought to exploit its greatest strength and most dangerous weakness. In an instant, anything one thinks or uploads to the device is shared with all others. Nothing spreads, as it is instantly adopted by all at the same time. From far outside the Alliance spaceways came a stranger, one intimately familiar with similar technology on his world. There, its weakness once led to a rebellion by programming it in such a way as to paint everyone of a particular continent as the mortal enemies of all others. Here, he felt he could do the same, but with a much greater effect. So he devised what was called the game. No one knows when it was uploaded or how, seeing that the stranger's mind wasn't at all linked to the others. But once it was in one, all others absorbed it as well. In one move, the stranger altered the perception of the entire populace, to wake up the next morning seeing every person encountered as a raging alien beast, spouting off a series of grunts and wishing their destruction. As the entire world experienced their morning rise, lovers were met by invaders in their own beds. Brothers saw their sisters as the same. Beginning with one, the game had begun. Everyone reached for whatever weapon they could find in order to attack the invaders. No one was safe. Everyone was a target. In the streets, chaos ensued. Every man, woman, and child, plus those of non-humanoid worlds, all saw the same thing. Beasts rampaging about in all directions, fellow citizens to be seen nowhere. Some tried desperately to communicate with them, but were only met with guttural languages that no one understood. Even those simply walking with their hands at their sides were seen by others to be holding weapons ready to strike them. So they were met with violence. Brothers killed six. It's a difficult story. Brothers killed sisters. Mothers killed sons. Security officers, possessing the best weapons, killed everything in sight. What was a utopia of kindness, understanding, with pleasant thoughts, the masses turned into a white noise of anger, contempt, hatred, and bloodlust. Everyone felt as if they were the last citizen left, fighting the horde. But only a few took a step back to see what was happening, seeing the beasts fight each other. One of these citizens, who sat back to watch the chaos around them, met their death by the impossible. A cloud of swirling blades, rotating around an individual that had entered the fray. He was an agent of the Alliance, sent to make sense of why the citizens were killing each other without any signs of mercy. Every person that he encountered violently attacked him. But even the security forces couldn't hope to get through his incredible shielding. To the citizens, he was just another beast, merely holding a stick. Just a word, about the agents. To those of the Earth, you would have seen them as gods. Actually, they're not dead, so yeah, you would see them as gods. I mean, in the modern world you live, nothing coming anywhere close to their level of power has ever been featured in even your fiction. Their weapons are spatially folded constructs, each one a silver box holding over 1,000 square miles of space within, armed with every weapon in the billion-year history of the Alliance. If they thought sword, it would unfold into a sword. If they desired a cannon, it would become a cannon. Even to the extremes, if they desired a warship, it would unfold into a warship, either for sea or air. Each request, 1,000 different panels would fold outward, with panels within panels within panels, all folded on each other, all contained in a space which resulted in no weight. For the base form of the weapon, a silver box, weighed almost nothing. This was the most advanced technology in the Alliance aside from the temporal engines. It was only used by the agents and the capital city, the spatially closed city of Reltak. But that's another story for another time. This agent, with his technologies, tried to scan for the source of the rage being generated, finding that it came from everyone, with no one target. He apparently reported back to the Crucible Infinity, reporting that the unknown force that had caused the entire population to descend into anarchy was unknown. Totally unknown. He got a reply back that he should use the Usar beacon. which was a doomsday device to go ahead and eliminate all life on the world instantly. He was horrified. It meant the entire world had to die in order to keep a quarantine behind whatever behind the rage. He ignored the order. And bravely, he tapped into the device, still being worn by a corpse at his feet. In an instant, his life as an agent vanished, replaced by the vision that he held only a sword and his mission was to kill every invader he found. Without memories to correct these visions, he dove headfirst into battle, his weapon taking on any form he imagined, assisting him in defeating the enemy, one that had saturated the landscape. He swung his blade out and imagined that at this rate it would take a very long time to achieve victory. So, thoughts of larger, more devastating weapons entered his mind. Not realizing what he had done, still only seeing a sword in his hand, his weapon dropped a small section of itself onto the ground, which unfolded outward and outward. Folds within folds within folds unfolded and became a large dome. This then unfolded inwards to reveal a very large turret. The turret began to fire silver shards in all directions, some reaching the far side of the planet and others landing locally. Out of each shard, a large dome began to unfold outward, from something as small as a credit card. How do I know about credit cards, you ask? My friends, I've walked the earth for hundreds of years. I know your world better than you do, as you're limited to a mere hiccup of a lifespan. For every century that passes here on Earth, I age a day, meaning I'll still be plugging along after another 2 million years of you dumb little humans. Enough about that. As it's best said, despite living for so long, most attest to it not being long enough. Everyone dies in the end. The shards, the ones the size of credit cards, all unfolded into an entire network of turrets, all charged, and upon solidification they fired, lobbing clouds of metal fragments in all directions, vaporizing anything they touched. People, animals, buildings, mountains. Pretty much the crust of the world began to explode outward as steam. You'd be amazed at how badly a body can damage the surrounding environment when its entire mass is converted into vapor. There are no cleaning vaporizations like you see in your media, you see on Star Trek. They instantly disappear. That doesn't happen. If a person dies this way, they never one around for several hundred feet die from being flash-boiled. As if they're lucky enough to survive the shard clouds raining down upon death. It only took an hour for the turrets to have wiped out nearly all life on the world, whereas the Usar beacon would have ceased all life functions in the entire world, leaving every body intact for analysis. However, the agent's mad purge destroyed everything, except the city he was fighting through. In the streets around him, tens of thousands were locked in mortal combat. But in the distance, behind the towers that scraped the very sky, arose a large cloud of vapor, still hundreds of miles out, but rushing towards the city, ever quicker. In it, the noxious fumes of a billion square miles of rock, water, and organic matter had been vaporized into the atmosphere, all of it rushing inwards toward the city, from all directions. Anywhere it fell, the people died where they stood, most still clutching for their weapons over life itself. The agent's weapons then went wild, as he feared death suddenly upon seeing the raging storm, its height only matched by its darkness and length, for it stretched from horizon to horizon to horizon, choking the landscape as it surged ahead. To someone not affected by the game, the agent would have been seen as a ball of glowing energy, surrounded by a whirlwind of spinning, highly charged metal, with two metallic snakes diving towards and shredding any citizens that chose to rush the agent. Then, without warning, everything stopped. His weapons folded back into themselves, becoming a box once more, which he tucked into his belt. What happened next drove him insane to the point that suicide seemed to be the only redeeming action he could take. Every person around him returned to normal. The beasts vanished. The weapons vanished. Most people were barefisted, despite seemingly carrying all manner of weaponry. They were all barefisted, occupying nearly 50% of his field of vision. The words, "Congratulations, you've won the game." Plus, on every viewpoint, screen, hologram, as well, they all flashed the same message. "Congratulations, you've won the game." He realized that he had just killed an entire world for nothing more than a glitch. If he hadn't intervened, there might have been a chance to save millions. So, he deactivated his shields and let the cloud overtake him, suffocating him. An act of suicide at the end. Friends, this is just another tale from the Evenstar Alliance. I have so many tales in my memory. I walked through the Alliance for thousands of years before settling here on Earth. I will bring you other tales in time. For now, I must go. Good night.